Good morning, everyone. We're continuing here in the Laws of KASHRUS by Rabbi Yamin Forst, and today is the final chapter in the final paragraph in the chapter of Bishul Akum of the laws of food that is cooked by a non-Jew, and he ends off with a very interesting case. Bishul l'tzar chayla, if a non-Jew cooks on behalf of a Jew who is a chayla, who is a sick person, and he needs food. Chayla she'en bo sakana. A chayla, someone that is sick, and it's not a situation of pikuach nefesh, of life and death. He's a very ill. Let's say he has bronchitis. He's quite ill, and he's in bed, and he's really not feeling well. And he could use a good pot of chicken soup on Friday night, and he didn't have time to make one before Shabbos. Chayla she'en bo sakana shetzarich b'Shabbos tafshil refuasai, and he needs food for his refuah. Well, it almost sounds like over here we're talking about where he needs to eat something in order to be able to have the strength for his healing. You're allowed to tell the non-Jew to cook on his behalf in order that he should have this food on Shabbos. Even though that a chayla she'en bo sakana, someone who's sick but it's not life-threatening, is not allowed to eat anything that is an issa midrabanan, a rabbinical prohibition. Nevertheless, when a non-Jew cooks for him on Shabbos, he's allowed to eat it, and he can make the appropriate bracha on it when he partakes of it. So, because, as we pointed out previously, the Isser D'Rabbanan, this is a gezerah, this is a decree in order to keep us away from chasnus, from marrying in to the non-Jewish world, and therefore it's a lesser degree of the Isser D'Rabbanan, and so a chayla, a person that is sick who requires food and doesn't have any other way to get it, could eat this food on Shabbos that was cooked by a non-Jew. Ulam, dafke b'Shabbos itir l'chayla, that's only on Shabbos that we allow the chayla to partake of the food. Only a chayla she'en bo sakana, that's not in a life-threatening situation, is allowed to eat the Bishul Akum on Shabbos. But during the week, however, during the week, if a non-Jew would cook for the chayla, however, if it would be during the week that a non-Jew would cook for the chayla she'en bo sakana, for a person who is sick, who's not in a life-threatening situation, then says Rav Forst that the Jew would not be allowed to eat that food, even if there's no other Jew that's around that could cook for him at that moment. He cannot partake of the Bishul Akum. There is a machlekes, there's an argument amongst the halachic authorities. What do you do with the vessels that had a non-Jew cook on them on Shabbos, and the food itself that was cooked on Shabbos, can the Jew now eat it on Motzai Shabbos after Shabbos is over? There are those that are very strict, and they say that even though the food on Shabbos was cooked in a way that we're saying that the Jew who's sick is allowed to eat it, on Motzei Shabbos it goes back into the category of Bishul Akum, food that was cooked by a non-Jew, and therefore a Jew would not be allowed to eat it. That's on the strict side. On the more makel, on the more lenient side, which seems to be the conclusion of the Mishnah Berurah over there, that in such a case, the kelim, the vessels are fine, and once the food was mutter, was permissible for the Jew to eat on Shabbos, if he's still the chayla, he's still after Shabbos in that condition, he'd be allowed to eat the food as well. Anyway, we hope that everybody's healthy and doesn't need to come onto these heterim, onto these leniencies, but just in case, now you know what you're able to do. Okay, that is the end of this chapter of Bishul Akum. Next week, Be'ez Hashem, we're going to begin the chapter of Chalav Akum, of the non-Jewish milk, versus Chalav Yisrael, the Jewish milk. And we'll see that discussion next week, Be'ez Hashem. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful Shabbos.